welcome to Kit Zone. Today we're going to be testing the Gerbing XR7 heated gloves. These are battery powered, 7 volt, and they retail around £200. I think the cheapest I've seen them is £190. Let's find out if they're any good. In the box you get the charger for it, which just comes with the 2 connectors on it ready to plug into both batteries, so you can charge both batteries at the same time. They simply plug in and that's it. Plug the charger into the wall. This is obviously the UK version. Seems to work okay. The red light comes up on here when it's charging. When it's finished charging both batteries, that light goes green. Charging takes a few hours, 3 hours, depending on obviously the amount of charge left in the batteries. So the batteries sit inside this little pocket. It's on the base of the cuff, so the idea is that when your hand's in it and you're on the handlebars, there's a slight lift in your wrist, which lifts you at the base of your wrist away from the battery, which is quite good really. If the battery was in the top here, it would impede the movement of your wrist, and obviously they've got to cater for all different sorts of bikes, so that's a good piece of design there. To get at the battery, you just unzip the little pocket and then the battery slides out. It's got a little connector built in, quite large the batteries. There you go, so that's removable. It's quite a big battery, bigger than I'd expect. 7.4 volt, 2200 milliamp hours it says, so not bad. It's lithium ion, not bad in kind of lithium ion standards. They say it lasts about 8 hours on the lowest power setting and about 2 hours on the highest power setting, and somewhere in between on the middle setting. To change the setting, to turn it on, you press and hold the button on the front, which is quite a nice design, and it lights up when it's on. So green is the lowest setting, amber stroke green is the middle setting, and red is the maximum setting. And then you press and hold it again to turn it off. Slotting the batteries back in once you've charged them, it's easy enough to slot them in, but I find it quite awkward once connecting them back up to then find a neat place for the connector to go. It seems a little bit bulky, the connection. So I put the battery in and then I'm left with this connector, which I've then got to sort of slide down the side of it, which seems a bit, I don't know, like they've missed that really. Wedge it, you're almost like wedging it in, and then you've just got to kind of maneuver it around slightly, like manipulate it so that it's flat and in line with the glove, because obviously it could be skew-if and then you don't want that, so you just got to kind of manipulate it inside and then you're good to go. But yeah, definitely they are quite big batteries. The glove's very comfortable though, and it's very warm without even having the heating on. I think that's the whole idea of it. Unfortunately though, as a consequence of all the padding, it's massive. That is probably my my biggest bugbear of the glove. I mean, look at my hand normally, it's like I'm wearing a boxing glove or something. It's massive, and obviously that impedes the control of the bike. So you know, kind of simple things like just even the sensitivity on the throttle, the moving of the fingers to control buttons, things like that. It's pretty impeding and restrictive in that sense. So that's my one complaint about it. It's very comfortable otherwise, and I think now I've tried it in pretty much all weathers, low temperature especially, it's fantastic. It really does the job. It creates a nice even warmth across your hand. It's not too hot. It doesn't kind of feel like a burning sensation or anything like it. It just gently warms it up, and I think that's brilliant. And especially combined with heated grips, which I've got, it really does kind of completely eradicate the cold hand syndrome, where you're riding along thinking, "Oh, my hands are getting cold." You know, you tend to concentrate then on your hands rather than the riding. So that eliminates that, and I think it's good if you can put up with the size of them. The cuff's good. It's a little bit difficult to get on to my my jacket. It's kind of quite deep, but you have like, it depends what jacket you've got really. My jacket's more like a sort of all-season jacket, so I tend to close the cuffs on it, velcro them over, and then slot this over the top, and then try and close it on it with the cord. However, once one's on, trying to get the other one then on and then adjusting it is pretty difficult. So I've not got much kind of finger movement, so I'm trying to lift this into the jacket, and it just adds to that kind of faff of getting ready. You know, I think really if you're going on a long journey, it's worth it for the way they'll keep your hands warm. But for just quick nips to the shops and stuff, there's a bit more effort required to get them on. They come with the knuckle padding on them already, which is quite good. They're CE approved, I think, for the protection. Like I said, very warm, very comfortable really. I think just quite restrictive in the movement, and I'm finding as I'm riding along, if I want to get more spirited in the riding and use my control of my fingers for the clutch and the brakes a bit more, it's making my hand ache a little bit more than it does with my summer gloves on, just because of the extra movement. Now I don't know if that's because they're new and still quite rigid and they'll bed in a little bit more, but I'm expecting really the reason is because of all the padding in it, and it might improve, it might bed in, but I think it's more because of the nature of the glove. They've got the straps on them to tighten them if you need to. Pretty tight anyway, but they're a good fit. I'd say stick to the size guide that they suggest. These are medium and I am a medium, so I would say that their sizing guide's about right, especially for me. They do ask you to measure across your palm, and then they've got a sizing chart which bases it on the size of your palm, medium, large, etc. And mine was correct. So, and I wouldn't say I want anything smaller, because then I think it would make it more restrictive. One thing I forgot to point out is on the thumb of the left hand, it's got this little visor wiper, which is a good idea. I'm not sure on this one. It seems to be folded slightly, and only half of it appeared to work when I tried to wipe the visor. But to be fair, that half was enough to create a nice line where I could see where I was going and remove the rain. They are fully waterproof, and I've ridden them in pretty good, let's say, wet weather conditions. Quite a lot of rain, and not felt a single bit of water getting in. So I would concur they are waterproof. The other good thing is they appear to work with the touchscreen, so I can adjust the settings, etc. quite easily. So that's not too bad. The one thing they don't do though is work with phone screens. So I wonder if the touchscreen of the sat-nav's a little bit more sensitive for the use with gloves. On my phone I can't get them to work, but on the bike they do, so that's good. So what's my conclusion for the Gerbing XR7 heated glove? Very good. They're bulky, large things. The batteries are big. It takes some getting used to, that does, when controlling the bike, but I have to admit they definitely do the job. I have no issues with the warmth that they create. Every time I've ridden, I've not had a single problem with my hands feeling cold, and they're even pretty warm without the heating elements on. So it gives you that option. You can have, if you've got heated grips fitted, you can have just the gloves on with the heated grips. That gives you a good sort of flow of heat and retains the heat in your hand. You can turn it on the low setting and you've got a good 8 hours then of charge. Or if it gets really cold and you're going down a dual carriageway or motorway at 70 miles an hour for a long period of time, you can have them on full power with your heated grips on as well, and you have no issues at all. So for that, I think they're very good, a worthwhile purchase for the winter months. So guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.